wanted to start out by sharing a story. This story occurs in the year 1900, and I want you to imagine a small ramshackle pub at the foothills of the Dandenong Ranges down in Victoria. And there's two woodcutters there. One is an older gentleman, around 50 years old, and the other is a younger man of about 25, and he's in the prime of his condition. He's probably as strong as he's ever going to be. And with that youth comes a level of cockiness, and he challenges the older man to see who could cut down the most trees the next day. And so the following day, they both arrive at the agreed location and they shake hands. And from that point, the younger man, he races to the first tree and immediately starts to swing his axe as hard and as fast as he can. The older gentleman, well, he walks to his first tree, sits down, and immediately starts to sharpen his axe. All right, so the younger man, he fells his first tree, and immediately he races to the second tree and starts to swing his axe again as hard and as fast as he can. The older man, not too far behind, he fells his first tree and then walks to his second, sits down, and starts to sharpen his axe. And this pattern repeats itself throughout the day. The younger man racing from tree to tree, going as hard and as fast as he can, not taking any breaks. The older man, every time he felled a tree, he would go and sit down and sharpen his axe before he started with the next tree. And at the end of the day, well, the older man has cut down 3 more trees than the younger axeman. See, the younger axeman, as though he was going as hard and as fast as he could, he started to fatigue throughout the day. And his axe got more and more blunt, which means the effectiveness of his strokes became less and less. With the older man, however, he managed his energy levels, and because he was constantly sharpening his axe, he was more effective with every stroke he made. And at the end of the day, the younger man, he went home and he collapsed, whereas the older man went home and chopped more wood so that his family had enough wood to cook and to stay warm throughout the cold night. Why do I tell you that story? Well, I want to ask you this question. What are you doing to sharpen your axe? You know, in the world of remote work, where so many of us are working from home and the boundaries between our work and our personal life get really blurred, it can be really difficult to maintain this elusive work-life balance, okay? I was talking to someone from your company just this week, and they were saying that they're taking less breaks, that they would often work through lunch and eat at their desk, and often finish their work much later than they would normally. And I was reading some research just this morning that was saying, on average, people are working up to 3 hours more per day than what they were pre-COVID. And so while this is great for short-term productivity and getting stuff done, it potentially is going to cause some negative side effects, and we have to question the sustainability of it long term. It provides the very real risk of increased burnout levels across industry and in our companies. So what can you do to manage that? What can you do to maintain your cognitive performance, your well-being, and reduce the risk of burnout? Well, there are a number of things. I've spoken to you before around the importance of maintaining your foundations, being your exercise, your nutrition, and your sleep. Absolutely, you need to do that to look after your body so that you're looking after your brain, and it has the potential has the opportunity to operate at its potential. When you look at the latest science in this area as well, there are 2 key things that emerge. And the first is managing your energy, and the second is you're getting effective recovery from your work. And when we start talking about recovery from your work, it's what you do outside of your work to re-energize, to recover from the energy that you expend while you're at work. And the first thing is that your recovery needs to be consistent. You can't just work really hard for a long extended period of time and then go on a holiday and then go back to work and work really hard again. What the research tells us is that stressed people within 2 weeks of coming back to work after their holiday are at the same levels of burnout that they were before. Now, we can't take holidays every 2 weeks, so we've got to make sure our recovery is consistent. Now, effective recovery has 3 elements to it. You need to detach, you need to relax, and you need to master something, okay? So detaching, really important, but really hard. How do we stop thinking about work, particularly in a world where, we are so connected, and the challenge really for you guys is around how often you're pinging each other with Slack after work hours. Now, I understand that, particularly at the end of sprints and trying to get things, milestones achieved and targets hit for the sprint, you're going to have some late nights working. But particularly in the early starts of your sprint, I really challenge you on how much you ping each other and email each other about work after work hours, okay? Because every time you do that, you're drawing someone back into their work and not allowing them to detach and have the mental break that they need in order to recover from that day. The next thing is relaxing. And if I was in the room with you there, I'd ask for a show of hands who relaxes by turning on Netflix or playing a video game. Those things, yes, they are a form of relaxation, but the research actually shows that active leisure is much more effective at increasing energy levels and recovery and providing effective recovery. So, that's things like getting out and doing some exercise, or going and socializing and doing something where you are investing a level of energy. So those sort of things are really, really important. And even if you are an introvert and you say, I don't like socializing, the latest personality research is actually indicating that socializing, getting out and displaying extroverted behaviors is actually just as beneficial for introverts and their well-being, even though they don't necessarily feel like it. Okay, and the final thing is master something, and it's around setting goals and making sure that you achieve something. That sense of achievement is really fulfilling and satisfying and contributes to well-being, but it's also allowing you to invest something in your focus, your energy in something that is different from work. Okay, and that is providing a level of detachment and mental break away while fostering that achievement as well. Okay, so active recovery, it's around detaching, relaxing, and mastering something. So if you can do those sort of activities after work every single day and on your weekends, you're going to recover much better. One of the other things that you can do, particularly in that area of detachment, is have an end of work routine. Okay, so you do the same set of behaviors, and that might be planning out all the key activities for the next day. It might be organizing emails. It might be whatever it is, but it's the same set of activities each day that you finish your work, and that allows you to kind of shut down. Okay, and aids in the detachment. So that comes then to managing energy levels. And when we start talking about this, we're talking about managing energy levels, particularly throughout your workday. All right. This is really around when you start to either finish a task or you're in the middle of a task and you start to feel fatigued and you're losing concentration. What do? Well, in these moments, generally there are 2 strategies that people employ. The first is work-related strategies. And these are things like changing tasks, doing something productive, but you're changing the task and giving yourself the mental break by doing something different. This is really good because people feel like they're being productive in the short term. They feel like they're getting stuff done. But what actually happens is that as they continue to do that, their cortisol levels, their stress hormone in their body continues to rise. And what that does is increases the level of fatigue throughout the day. And also because they're so fatigued, they're less likely to engage in the active leisure activities, which aids in effective recovery. But the raised cortisol levels are also going to impact the quality of people's sleep. So while these work-related strategies to manage energy levels may feel good in the short term, they actually have more detriment throughout the day and then compounding throughout the week. The other strategy is around micro breaks, and this is where we actually step away from our work and do something totally different. This can be a simple walk outside and get a couple of minutes of sun. It might be go away and make a tea or a coffee. Having a talk with someone, whether it's getting on the phone or talking to someone physically. One of my favorites is dropping and doing a set of push-ups, okay? Incorporate some of that exercise. And what this does is it gives a level of mental separation from our work that allows us to kind of manage the energy levels in that way. And what we end up finding is that those micro breaks, they reduce the level of cortisol, the level of stress that we feel, which means we're less fatigued throughout the day. We can concentrate more, and we also have more energy to engage in active leisure, to recover more effectively, and we're going to sleep better because we have reduced cortisol as well. All right. So, so these are active recovery is really important, and also managing your energy levels using micro breaks. And allowing yourself to detach and recover is really important. And these are some of the key things that you can do in order to sharpen your axe so that you can maintain your performance and also manage your well-being in this kind of remote environment.